Nowadays, people often feel sadness, despair, lethargy, laziness, apathy, and all things satanic. They are downcast, discontent, and melancholy. They disregard their families, spend vast sums on psychoanalysts, and take antidepressants. People explain this as insecurity. Our religion believes that these states derive from satanic temptation. Pain is a psychological power which God implanted in us with a view to doing us good and leading us to love, joy, and prayer. Instead of this, the devil succeeds in taking this power from the battery of our soul and using it for evil. He transforms it into depression and brings the soul into a state of lethargy and apathy. He torments us, takes us captive, and makes us psychologically ill. There is a secret. Turn the satanic energy into good energy. This is difficult and requires some preparation. The requisite preparation is humility. With humility, you attract the grace of God. You surrender yourself to the love of God, to worship and to prayer. But even if you do all in the world, you achieve nothing if you haven't acquired humility. All the evil feelings, insecurity, despair, and disenchantment, which come to take control of the soul, disappear with humility. The person who lacks humility, the egotist, doesn't want you to get in the way of his desires, to make any criticism of him, or tell him what to do. He gets upset, irritated, and reacts violently, and is overcome by depression. This state is cured by grace. The soul must turn to God's love. The cure will come when we start to love God passionately. Many of our saints transformed depression into joy with their love for Christ. That is, they took this power of the soul which the devil wished to crush and gave it to God, and they transformed it into joy and exaltation. Prayer and worship gradually transform depression and turn it into joy, because the grace of God takes effect. Here, you need to have the strength to attract the grace of God, which will help you to be united with Him. Art is required. When you give yourself to God and become one with Him, you will forget the evil spirit which drags at you from behind. And this spirit, when it is disdained, will leave. And the more you devote yourself to the Spirit of God, the less you will look behind to see the spirit that is dragging at you. When grace attracts you, you will be united with God. And when you unite yourself to God and abandon yourself to Him, everything else disappears and is forgotten and you are saved. The great art, the great secret, in order to rid yourself of depression and all that is negative, is to give yourself over to the love of God. Something which can help a person who is depressed is work, interest in life. The garden, plants, flowers, trees, the countryside, a walk in the open air. All these things steer a person away from a state of inactivity and awake other interests. They act like medicines. To occupy oneself with the arts, with the music and so on, is very beneficial. The thing that I place top of the list, however, is interest in the church, in reading Holy Scripture and attending services. As you study the words of God, you are cured without being aware of it. Let me tell you about a girl who came to me. She was suffering from dreadful depression. Drugs had no effect. She had given up everything, her work, her home, her interests. I told her about the love of Christ, which takes the soul captive, because the grace of God fills the soul and changes it. I explained to her that the force which takes over the soul and transforms the power of the soul into depression is demonic. It throws the soul to the ground, torments it, and renders it useless. I advised her to devote herself to things like music, which she had formerly enjoyed. I emphasized, however, most of all, her need to turn to Christ with love. I told her, moreover, that in our church, a cure is to be found through love for God and prayer, provided this is done with all the heart. Words from the Church Fathers, Elder Porphyrios on overcoming depression.